Hey guys, and welcome to Natural Aesthetics, the YouTube channel dedicated to drug-free bodybuilding, strength and fitness. This is a montage of a session that I did earlier in the week, shoulders and back. I had the pleasure of training with one of my clients, so I utilised that and we decided to do some HIT training, high intensity training, as advocated by Mike Mentzer, Dorian Yates. And I've done it before and I really enjoy this style of training. It is extremely taxing. Essentially, you're maximising intensity by using a lot of overload techniques, but then subsequently minimising the volume. You can't do both, you can't maximise both. Now this isn't, true HIT style. I guess for the first part of the session it was, but we did some volume stuff at the end where we just blasted a few sets out with lower weights towards the end of the session. So essentially just doing more work and training harder for this week with heavier loads in general. I think HIT is a great style of training to do perhaps after a long stretch where you've been doing a lot of volume. Say perhaps you do 8 weeks volume training where you're progressively increasing the total tonnage each week. Then you maybe do 1 or 2 weeks with very low volume but extreme intensity, and then maybe deload after that and restart. I think that would work really well, and that's probably what I'm going to be steering towards over the next few months. Now, as I mentioned before, we use a lot of overload techniques to get the most out of each set, because you're only doing 1 or 2 working sets per exercise, so you need to make them count. So for the miniature press, we used rest pause, where you perhaps rest 10 seconds or so after a set to failure, and then you maybe try and squeeze another 1 or 2 reps out, and then perhaps lower the weight further and rest another 10 seconds and do the same. And then for lateral raises, just using assistance. So I think I did like 5 or 6 on my own, and then utilised the spot to double that essentially. When you're training HIT, the weight has to be heavy. In my personal opinion, you should be really gunning for 5, 6, 7 reps on your own at the very most, before then maybe using force reps or another overload technique to increase the intensity. It has to be heavy. There's no point training in this style if it's not heavy. If you're doing 15 reps on your own before fatiguing, then it's just not going to cut it. So we did 2 shoulder exercises, 2 back exercises. This is the horizontal row. This second set here with the left arm is slightly heavier actually than the first set, which I showed the right arm clip on. So I like to gun for explosive as possible on the positive phase of the movement, and then 1, 2, 3 on the way down back on the negative portion of the movement. And one thing I will say, training HIT style, is that you're able to utilise the negative portion of the rep a lot more than you usually would be able to. Because I train on my own usually, I can't really push the set far enough to get to the point where the negative portion is fatigued, because the negative is so much stronger than the positive part of the lift. If you're training your own, you never really get to train that. You never really get to utilise that. So when you're training with someone, that's one thing I will say that's a massive benefit, is you get to train all parts of the lift to maximal intensity. Moving on to pullovers, one of my favourite exercises to do. I've noticed some good improvements in my lats from doing these actually over the last few months. So now at the end, we're kind of veering away from HIT and just doing some volume work. So typically you wouldn't mix the two together. I definitely think sometimes you're just going to grow and you're going to become stronger and bigger just from doing more work. It doesn't really matter what you're doing sometimes. At the end of the day, this week I've trained harder and I've done more work than I did over the last few weeks. So, as long as I eat to match that, I'm going to see gains, irrespective of what kind of style of training you're following. So we did frontal raises first, then some pull downs for back. There we did 6 sets of that all with very little rest in between, and then utilising false reps to continue the set to 15 reps, so maximising the intensity. And then hitting lateral raises to finish, again the same principle, 20 rep target, probably got to maybe 10 or 12 on my own, and then just utilising false reps again to get to that target rep range. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more videos. Check out my social media, the links are in the description box below. If you enjoy my videos and you haven't subscribed, then please do so. Stay strong.